The movie starts with Janiyah lying in bed with her daughter, and as she wakes up to her alarm clock, she just realizes she's definitely going through it. And when she starts to watch her daughter tells her to say she needs to pay the money at school, $40 for her lunch, because now she's being a laughing stock, and as the teacher has put it. So when they step out to get to the car, she meets Benny, who's been sitting around there and been asking for hands. She says she has nothing, but then she does manage to pull out a little something for him as she goes and tells him not to take liquor. Turns out this was bad timing, as her landlady had seen her do this. So she demands that she's been giving other people money, but then she's not paying her rent. And when she comes back, she's gonna find her things outside of the street. So she promises her that she's gonna get her break because today is her payday and she's gonna pay everything that she owes. She tells her baby she's gonna bring her money for lunch and everything is gonna be good today. She's running late. She finds a lot of people in the store where she works from, and her manager is on her. Like, you seem to have every reason why you do this. Customers feel like they just got ignored when she just needed to clock in. As she begins to work, she encounters customers almost immediately that wanted to take a card that is not allowed, and they throw a bottle of beer at her side, which breaks, and the manager asks her to go and to come and clean up. Her friend follows her and tries to give her money, which she turns down and says she's also just trying to make ends meet herself. She receives a call and she says that it's her daughter's school, and the manager walks in. He says it's against policy that she's actually talking on the phone. She begs Richard and asks him to let her go so that she could take that $40 for her child's school. Now she's gonna go to the bank and he's getting upset because it seems she has every reason every other time to go and do something. So she asks if she can get her check, and Richard refuses because he's already going through it with this lady. So the bank is just across the street, and as she goes to the bank, she finds a whole queue there. She asked the manager if she could get her chance because she's only been given 30 minutes, and the manager refuses that she has to stay in the queue and her balance is running low. Her account might just get closed. So she decides to cruise to her daughter's school, where she gets there and she finds her daughter being taken away from her. They say that sometimes she just comes and she's unclean, she has bruises on her back and etc. They feel like she is not in the right state of mind to keep the child, and so they take her from her. She begs them and says I'm the right person that the child needs to be with. She's got asthma. I know how to treat her. I give her try by all means to give her the right food, as the doctor said that I should, but they refuse to give her daughter back. No matter how much she tried to prove to them that some of the things were a lie and not what it seemed, they still took her and told her her daughter is going to be in good hands. As she tries to go back to work, it begins to rain, so she tries to overtake and she encounters a person who seems to be having a bad day, and he tries his hardest to tell her and rail her off the road. So as she's going to check her car, the police arrives and they ask for her ID, and turns out this guy that railed her off the road is also a police officer. They discover her ID is already expired and they decide to write her a ticket, and she got her car impounded. She said, I need to have this car so I could be able to take my daughter because I cannot always wait for an ambulance if anything happens to my daughter and she needs medical attention. It's been 2 hours since she's been gone. Back at work, she's soaking wet, and as she arrives, the manager tells her it's over and she is getting fired. She tries to beg him that she really needs this job, but the manager does not budge. She tries to ask him if he could give her her check, but then he says it's company policy that the check should be mailed to her. At this point, she's having a lot of emotions running down on her. As she tries to go back home, it's already raining and she finds her things thrown outside. She is raging with anger because she just had asked her landlady to wait for her for 3 days and her check will be out, but the landlady seems to have already gotten tired. The maids for her child were out in the rain. She was just so upset. She goes back to the manager's office, who repeats that she was already fired, and just as time may have it, somebody walks in and reads her name tag, and this was a robber that wanted to rob the place. He demands that the manager releases all the money, and the manager unlocks the safe and starts putting all the money on the table. So she gets some of the money and holds the bag. The manager tries to scream to her to say give him the bag, and as they try to push back and forth, she finds herself shooting the guy down. So the manager calls the police and reports that she's the one who arranged everything. It was just too timely, and even the robber knew her name. So as he's pointing fingers at her, she shoots him out of rage. Realizing what she had done, she searches for her check on the table and picks it up, which was already splashed with blood, and walks out to the bank. At the bank, it was already time up and the doors were closed, so the security guard tells her she cannot go in. Bank manager sees her, who has been seeing her for a while, so she kind of knows her, tells him to let her come in. At the murder scene, the detectives arrive and they try to play whatever happened down there, but they seem to have different understandings as to what happened. One thinks she definitely went in for a robbery, and the other, Detective Raymond, feels like she was just caught up in it all. So they try to find out from someone who knows her from around the shop, and her friend says she's not the kind of person that would do the kind of thing, and that she was her friend, but even though she never talked with a lot of people. Divided at their thought, these two detectives decide Detective Raymond had an understanding under control. Janiyah gets to the bank and hands in her check, which Tessa receives, and she thinks that is slash on the check. She asks Janiyah for her ID, which she says it has already expired, and she feels Tessa already knows her and would definitely help her. But Tessa refuses, and as Janiyah has been going through a lot already, she decides to pull a gun to just make things quick. The manager receives a phone call that the police had received a warning about a robbery currently going on in the bank, to which she agrees as she's been able to see everything play out through the glass from her office. Adding to this, she tells them that she has also a bomb, which she thinks is already beeping right there, and emotions are running high, but that is her child's science project. The detectives arrive at Janiyah's house, but they find that her things were pulled out of the house. Back at the bank, Janiyah is surprised that they give her a lot of money, which she demands that she's just asking for her paycheck only and not all that money that is being pulled out. The manager walks up to the people as she had spotted a bomb and asked them to leave, but they are agitated and say they have been standing in line for too long and therefore they cannot leave at that. Janiyah's conversation with Tessa is escalating, and the manager tries to come in and ask Tessa to just give her check. Considering this is a robbery scene, the police are already outside and trying to get the situation under control, trying to get the hostages out. However, after everything, they realize that she could just be a victim that was caught up in a robbery. In a few minutes, they see one of the hostages running out, and he says that he tries to get onto her when she ended up blowing a gunshot into the roof of the bank. Everyone is acting scared, so she tells them, she says, I did not do anything to you. Why are you acting like that? So already things are already on the news, and she's surprised of how this thing has already turned out. Back with the police, they decide to bring in a negotiator. Upon hearing him introduce himself, she cuts the line, and Detective Raymond tells them that she could relate with a woman better because she called a man, she's been dealing with men all along. So it seems she's definitely going to say something after a lady got on the call, and she explains the gun just went off. It's not something that I intended to do. She also says she did not come in here to rob the bank, of which Detective Raymond tried to understand on the call. As this goes on, they get to realize that this was all a misunderstanding, and she definitely did not intend on doing all this. So they ask her to come out, but then she's afraid of this cop that she met along the road because he had promised her that he's going to blow her brains out when they get to meet, and he was gonna do it in a legal way. While they're still in the bank, one of the bank tellers decides to go live on a phone capturing the incident. It's been a while that they have been standing, so one of the older ladies begin to seem like she's struggling, so she asked them to go and get her a chair. The other older couple is getting frustrated because while they're being held in here, they feel that they worked hard and they just came in for a service. So she lets them go. As they go outside, she asks everyone to lock the door. Aria's science project starts to beep again, and everybody's afraid that the bomb is gonna blow up this time around. They call her, she doesn't have to do this, and she reaches in her bag and switches it off. Then she asks everybody else to get chairs. In fact, she went to get the chairs for them. She says, I understand what it feels like to be standing a whole long day. And back with the police, they tried to discuss if the bomb could be real anyway. And they tried to understand the behavior of this inverted comma robber, because she didn't even try to stop the hostages from coming outside. So now people start getting the live stream as the news is also ongoing, and everybody begins to watch as Janiyah begins to explain of what is happening unbeknownst to her. She says she did not want for all of this to happen. All that she wanted was $40 for her baby's lunch. She gets on the call with Detective Raymond, who asks her to come out, but she refuses, that she will not come out because that man who ran her off the road was still out there. So she was still having her own scared thoughts, and the people that she kept in the bank were more like surety to her. As she's complaining, this live is already now a big thing because the bank robbery is definitely going on and many people have tuned in. She goes down to complain how she needs to get her daughter to the hospital, how things are hard, how the daughter has bruises on her back because she falls by herself and they think it's her fault, how she does not eat some of the food, and etc. She also complains about how her landlady did not just wait for her to have a few days so she could give her her money. But by all means, she refuses to come outside unless the cop she encountered is not out there, and they assure that they took him out of sight from her. So the search has been going on with Detective Raymond in order to find out this man that she's been talking about her. They try to check all tickets and keep on trying to find this man. She spots to say the cameras are working, so she tells the manager they go and put them off because she does not want any live feeds coming in from this place. Most of these hostages are beginning to understand that this is somebody who's just been caught up, but Tessa is not up for it. The bank manager asked Janiyah if she could give her a cut, lend her a cut. And as they're in her office, they begin to explain each other as mothers, and she gets to find out that the bank manager also has a family of her own. The bank manager also gets to find out that Janiyah doesn't not have a very supportive family, even though she's got a sister and a mom. It's been hours already and it's getting dark, and the worst that the police did not want to happen happens. The FBI get to the scene. Watch part 2.